This session will cover mainly the report generator tool, which is something that we developed to automate the process of creating reports for your customers or maybe also for yourselves. And before we start, I wanted to wait, as usual, for some time to have people joining us. As I see, there is still just a few of us connected. So last week we talked about the MMV tool. I know some of you had time to play a little bit around with it because yeah, some of you spotted a bug that we introduced by editing some settings later last week. And yeah, if you had some time to play around and had some doubts or something unclear from our last session, then yeah, feel free to email me and to let me know what's wrong, and I will do my best to help you. And for the ones of you that couldn't attend the webinar, there is still the chance to see it, to see the record of it by going to our website on the webinar page, and there you can access all the past webinar by just yeah, so insert your credentials and register to it if you weren't. Okay, so I would say let's start so that we don't go we don't make it too late. So welcome everybody to this fifth webinar of the series Small Group Coaching with Warix. Thank you for attending it, and as I mentioned before, I will be giving you some insights, maybe mainly about the admin tab. So some very quick insights about the data monitor and so on, and mainly we will focus on the report generator tool. So let me share my screen with you. Please let me know if some of you is unable to see it. And before I start with the actual report generator tool that I'm showing you, just two quick notes that I forgot to give you last time about our recent release. So we updated the notification tool, as Antonio mentioned during the first webinar, and now you won't be able to set notification with the usual icon that you had down here, but you will have to select this bell icon, which is notification settings, where you will find the usual alerts, and pay attention that the custom alerts are brand new, are being revisited to be more accurate, to be more customizable, to take into account not only about power usage as they did lately, but now they can also include energy consumption, active, reactive, and apparent power, voltage, line-to-line voltage, and so on. So all the 7 parameters that are included in a multi-value point. With the same release, we also updated a little bit the tariff tool, so that now you will be able to change the date, the starting date for a tariff back in time, also in the past. So now you don't have to ask us anymore to manually reset the starting date for a tariff. That's something that you can do it yourself now. Okay, so now that all the information have been given, I will go to the admin tab of my dashboard, and I will show you the focus. I will focus on what was planned for the day. So this is the admin tab of my dashboard. It will be slightly different from yours, because here I also have some tools to manage all the customers that we have in the dashboard, and the layout on the other end will be exactly as yours, because since the admin tab is something that just one user per partner has, then we chose not to rebrand it in order to make the rebranding faster and less heavy for the for the server to process. So every time that you will go to the admin tab, you will see the dashboard back with what X color, as if it was unbranded. So the report definition is a tool that you can access here, is right beside the data monitor that I will quickly show you after this. And this is the home page for the tool, in which you will find the list of all the reports that you created. Here you will find the list of all the reports that have been created in the dashboard so far and that haven't been deleted, of course. So this is as simple as, here you can find some filters to select the exact report that you generated, so that you can edit it, or you can delete it, or you can stop it from being sent automatically to your customers. And if you wanna, well, here you can edit it and you can change the settings that you put. Now I won't show you an existing one, of course. We will go through the creation of a new one, which will lead you to the exact same page, but in this case it's blank, and I will show you how the report works. So to set up a report, it's you need to provide some basic information. So, for example, let's create the usual test LC thing. You can add a brief description, so test for the webinar, that you will be able to use also for sorting the reports. So to filter the reports in order to search, to look for the right one. We will go for an energy type. Let's choose electricity in this case, as I don't think that I have many gas meter in my dashboard, as I have just a bunch of demo sites and something more. Here now it starts with some interesting information. I mean, something that I feel like I need to clarify. So the transmission day refers to the day of the month in which we choose that we want this report to be delivered to our customer, to the users that we chose. It's important to that if, like in this case, we go for a transmission day that is, in this case, the 2nd of every month, so next report to be sent would be the 2nd of July. Then it's important to put a type shifting month, which is at least 1, because otherwise, if we put a 0 time shift, then the system will process the reports by putting only the data for the current month. But in this case, if we are sending the report on the 2nd of the month, then the days that will make it up will be less than 2. So the report will lack a lot of information and will look bad. In this case, the best thing to do is to choose at least 1 month of delay, so that if we are sending the report in the 2nd day of July, then the data that will make it up will be coming from June. Okay, so now that we select this bunch of basic information, what we need to do is to set up to create the actual report. Here you can see a list of all the pages that you can add to make up the report the way you like it. So here is a brief description of what's included in the report, and on the right hand side you will have this icon that will allow you to download a sample page that we made up with, of course, with our colors, with our branded colors, and with data coming from a demo site that is not there anymore. And here you can see how it looks like, what are the information that are included in this page, and you can choose whether this is something of interest for you to put in the report that you are sending to your customer, or if this is something that is not relevant for what you are planning to send him. So here you can access all the pages. Now I would say let's make up a sample report, so then I will show you how it looks also by generating a sample one. So I don't know, for example, let's put this trend analysis the heat map. Here the top threes are fine. Okay, let's not put too many pages, unless otherwise the it won't be as effective as it is now. I would like to add some information also about the utility bill. So before I generate the sample report to show you how it looks like, let's spend some time also in this report, that I think it will be very useful for some of you, as it will allow you to manage multi-tenant buildings, for example, or something like that, by providing a customized utility bill that you can send your customer in order to manage their payments and to send also the bill for your services. Okay, I'm downloading the page to show you how it looks like, and here it is. Okay, so let's get back to the report definition. So I will show you all the information that we can add to this report page. So as I tick this box, as you can see, a whole new bunch of information are requested for me to be added. So here we have some comments pages, so custom comments, left comments, and bottom comments that we can add in order for our report page to provide more information. So here are for example, some contact informations. Here on the bottom, the custom comments, so maybe some notes for the user, and so on. And then what we need to provide is the bill day, so the day in which we want the bill to be sent. So basically when we want our customer to pay for the bill, which can be set as a different date compared to the one in which we want to send the report. Here we can add some information about payments, so previous balance, how much was paid, the taxes, and so on, that will populate in this part on the top of the bill. So not sure if this is true for you, but it's very true to life for me, based on the information that I have for utility bills in Ireland or in Italy. Then and here is the main section, the main part that I want to highlight is where to add all the entries that will make up our utility bill. So as soon as I click to add section, I can add as many sections as I want. So I can go for 3 sections, and for each section I can add as many items as I need. So one thing that is very interesting in my opinion is that compared to the tariffs that you can set in the dashboard, here you can associate a price also to different quantities, so rather than just kilowatt hour. So, well, first of all, you can set a different price, for example, for kilowatt hour compared to the one that we had in the dashboard. So you can choose to use the same price, or you can set a complete new one. Then another interesting thing is that you can well, apart from using dashboard tariffs, you can also add the daily costs, for example, or here not applicable means that these are fixed costs. So if you want your customer to pay for I don't know, the lease of a smart meter, maybe the daily tariff will be good for you. Paying for your service, maybe a fixed cost will be fine. So then you can also use kVA or kilowatt, that maybe for industrial customer will make up a very, a relevant utility bill, because as you know, kVA and on peak kilowatt is very important to put an eye on for this kind of customers. These sections will populate in the central part of the dashboard, of the report page, and here are all the sections. So every time you create a section, then the system will automatically calculate the total for the section, and will then calculate the grand total in the bottom. And here are all the entries that we put. So as you can see here, there is a price per kilowatt hour, which is in this case one is electricity supply charge and the other is transmission services. So we associated two different prices to the same exact same measurement. And then here there is the distribution facility charge for on peak kilowatt. Then there are some taxes that are maybe daily or fixed. And one thing I wanted to highlight is that you can also set price to be negative, as in this case. So here is some credit for a smart meter program, and as you can see here, the grand total will take into account of this minus and will decrease the amount to be paid for this customer. So here is how it looks like. I hope you like how it works. I hope you can find it useful for some of your customers. And now I would say let's take it out, because I didn't provide any relevant information to make it up, and let's go on to see what's next, what needs to be added to our bill. So here you can provide some information. Here you can provide a custom header and footer so that your bill or your report will look exactly as you sent it. So no matter who you are sending it to, it will have the header. So also if you're sending it to yourself, you can choose to customize the header in order to show your custom logo and so on. And then here on the bottom, you need to associate some users to receive the report. So some people that you want this report to be sent every month. So I will put myself in this case, and I'll generate the report. So now if I go either for test LC here, or I put it something like webinar in the description, I would find the report that I mentioned, and I can edit it or delete it. Once I have it in my dashboard, I can also use the preview tab, look for my test LC report, select a site for me to generate the report. So let's go for the pasta factory that I used last time. I remember I have data just for January and February, so the year 2018 is good. You can choose to change the language, because you never know where the customer may be. So in theory, I would make it in Italian for me, as this customer is likely to be Italian. Let's keep it British English, so every one of us can understand what I did. And now that I click on generate, the system will automatically create a PDF with the report. And if I did everything good, then it will show exactly the pages that I chose. So first of all, we put a small cover, a cover page for this report to make it look better. Here is a custom image that you can add to your sites, so that if you want to have a picture of the plant that you're generating the report for, then that's the way to go. That's the place in which it will be shown. Then it starts with the usual pages that I set. So here is the first one. Here you can see it would have made a comparison between the actual month that I'm expecting, the previous one, and the one for the same for the past year. In this case, we have data just for the 2 months. And then daily consumption, so the consumptions day by day. And here are some other pages that I chose to add to my report. So here is how it looks like. Of course, this one is branded Wattix, so it will be slightly different, likely, from the ones that you will set up. But in principle, that's how it looks like. Now that I generated it with my preview tool, I can also choose to send it from my email address now. So you can set an email address to be for this report to be sent, so it won't be info@wattix.com. If you are on the brand dashboard. Otherwise, you can just download it from here and send it, but you would lose the automation for these tasks. Just before I start with some question and answers, as I have some time left to introduce you some other tools, I wanted to spend just a little time on the data monitor, as I think it can be useful for you on the technical side, maybe to check if everything is going as expected, and maybe to take a look if there is any problem with your points. So I will go again for a random point in my pasta factory, and here is how it looks like. If you you can choose a point, and you can download all data, all the streams of data that we are getting in our database by just selecting a start and an ending date. So here, if I go for January to June and I click search, I will have all the data that make up my. Okay, I don't think I have any here. Oh no, yeah, that's because this is a virtual point. So if I go for another point, here you can see this. These are one parameter points. So the readings that we are getting are just for energy consumption and active power. Here are all the data that we are getting from, or all the packets that are sent to our database, and that you can access to make sure that everything is okay. So in this case, we had the stream every 5 minutes. You can see that the last one to be sent to us is it was on the 1st of March at midnight. So that's why we don't have any data for March. And yeah, and here you can, if you have something like a spike in your readings, you can go here and you can check if there was anything strange for that time, so that maybe the meter has read the wrong information, or I mean, you can double check the information that we printed in the dashboard with the ones that we received in the database. So if there was any mistake from when we received the data to when we printed them in your dashboard, then here is the place to go. And very quickly, another thing I wanted to show you is the plans tab. So this part is well, yours will look different from mine, as many of you will have access just to small, medium, large, extra large, and extra small. And well, better, I think all of you will have access just to that, because the other plans have been discontinued. So what can you see here is a list of all the tools, or better, the permissions that can be allowed to a new user of the dashboard. So this is something that you should look at if you're planning to provide access to the dashboard to a customer or to another user for which you would be interested in providing limited access. Let me make an example to explain myself better. So if I am an energy consultant and I'm taking care of running the analytics for a specific customer, I can choose, for example, to add in his, I mean, as a service that I'm providing to this customer, also an access to monitor the energy performances of his, I mean, of the plants that I'm looking at. So what can I do is I can provide him an extra small access to the dashboard, for which he will be able to see just the raw data tab and the breakdown tab, and also the attributes, which is here the data tab, with which he will be able to add the CSV file, for example. And doing so, I don't have to worry about teaching a customer that maybe is not used, doesn't have the expertise to work with very specific tool. I don't need to teach him how to use maybe the MMV tool or the actions tracker, the operation analyzer, things that I want to keep for me to run all the analytics that I will use to actually take care of the needs of my customer. So this is something that can prevent people to see some tools in the dashboard. Otherwise, if you're providing access to the dashboard to one of your colleagues, the best thing to do is to provide an extra large access, so that the new user will have the exact same permissions that you have in your dashboard. In order to associate a plan to a user, once you create a new user, apart from all the information that you will have to provide, in this case there are many more than the ones that you usually do, you can also you have to go for the plan tab right by the end of the page, and choose one between small, medium, large, extra large, and extra small. I know many of you have this exact same page in their dashboard, because due to a bug the dashboards are showing all the plans that you can see here now, but that's something that shouldn't be there anymore now, because we fixed it. So now you should just see the information that are relevant for you. So okay, I think I covered the topics that I wanted to talk to you about for the day. So if you have any question, if you want to highlight something, or maybe to share with other people that are attending the webinar some best practices, or some insights that you had while using these tools, or maybe the MMV tool, or whatever, but feel free to ask me, and I'll be happy to help. Otherwise, I think, yeah, if there may be still something for me to show you, and while you are thinking of a question for these last 5 minutes, I will show you. Well, okay, what can I show you? I will show you how the new notifications that we introduced last time works. So just to be more consistent with what I said when starting the webinar. So here in the notification settings, as I mentioned before, there are the custom alerts. So if you remember, the old version of the custom alerts allowed you to set a threshold that you let's go for a certain point, so back area. You could set a threshold, and every time that the system monitored an energy consumption that was above that threshold for at least a quantity, an amount of time that you could select, then you got the alert. This time we chose to make it more customizable, and in my opinion even more powerful, by adding for example, here you can go for the exact same thing, so value against threshold, but you can choose between all these new parameters that before it was just active power. Now you can also go for monitoring the current. Again, the alert name, which is well, it was expected. And now what can you do is also, apart for active, reactive, and apparent power, you can also monitor energy consumption. And this is something that can be done by adding accumulated value for energy consumption. So here you can go for active energy as it's accumulated. So it's an energy power consumption times time. Or you can choose also to monitor the costs. So in this case, when in the period that you can select, so when during the week the cost for for the energy consumption accumulated in this meter back area gets above a certain threshold that we can, okay, let's make $30, as the hotel is in the US, so the unit is dollar. Every time that the week the weekly cost for energy for the back area gets above this threshold, you can be notified in the usual way. If you go for energy, you can the logic is exactly the same, and you will have to set a threshold in terms of energy. So here is how it looks like. So there is room to play around a little bit to find out what can be useful for you, what can you benefit the most from, and yeah, here you can you can set the alerts in this new way. So feel free to play around with it a little bit if you have some doubts, because yeah, I understand it can be something confusing if you were used to the old system. Then just feel free to ask me, and I'll provide